to The Daily Show.
The Daily Show?
The Daily Show.
The Daily Show.
On Men's Radio.
Men's Radio.
Men's Radio.
Men's Radio.
With Russ Kane.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, will be me. Wow. Don't you find the lead up to, I'm Russ Kane. This is Daily Show here on Men's Radio Station, exclusively 3 times a week. Don't you find the lead up to Christmas is a monumental pain in the ass? I mean, it's exhausting, isn't it? You're trying to do everything. You're worried you haven't got everybody's presents. I've got, nothing. Thank God for Amazon. And, you're doing that. And then everyone's inviting you. And the good news is, as of Friday at 10:30 at night, I finished the novel. I don't mean I finished reading it. I finished writing it, sent it off to my agent. So I'm slowly coming up for air. Bit by bit. I've had to turn down everything, but it was lovely. Had a wonderful lunch with Chris Tarrant the other day, 2 days ago. I was on mate Lloydski for a salad locally, and it was nice. Nothing like old friends. Talking of nothing like old friends, you know him, you love him. You're going to love him a lot more. I'm going to tell you something about it in a minute. Here he is, Mr. Neil.
Hello.
Long.
Good to see you. How are you? Happy Christmas.
He is.
Congratulations on the novel as well. It's Amazon Anxiety Day.
Look at that.
Means
you've decked your halls with happy Christmas to you. Now, what is going on here? What is going on? Hang on 1 minute. Robert Van Buren. Hi, Russ and Neil. Watching from my hospital bed. Oh, you poor sausage. Wish you better, man.
Had an operation, haven't you, RVB, and we wish you all the very best.
We do. Because he's been in and out like a fiddler's elbow, test after test. I've been following this for weeks, and I've never met Robert, but he seems like a lovely guy, and I'm so sorry that you're going through this crap. Kimmy Lashmar. It's the most shittiest time of the year. Yeah, well, Christmas, you either love it or you don't. I can live without it. Barry J. Allen. Oh, you're kidding. Hello, Russ, Neil and all. Bloody COVID again. Thought it was a cold. Oh. Oddly enough, I've just had an email from my literary agent. He's absolutely knocked sideways with some ghastly bug. So that's put all his plans completely out. And then we've got Robert Van Buren saying hello. Now, before we get on to our guest, we have a little announcement to make. Is as of the new year, I am entrusting the Wednesday show to Mr. Neil Longie Long. There's other things that I have to be doing that I can't do. So, as of Wednesday, from beginning of next year, beginning of 2024, it's a new look, and Neil. This will be his own show on Wednesday, and I couldn't have it in safer, more wonderful hands. And I know how much you guys like him. I know how much you admire him.
Well, thank you. I'm going to make it as good as I possibly can.
As do I.
I'd like to hear from you about what subjects you'd like to discuss, about what guests you'd like to have on, issues that are bothering you, and I'm going to be teaching an awful lot of mental health tools, tips, and techniques as well, because it is a radio station all about mental health. So really looking forward to doing that on Wednesdays. Fan-blimmin-tastic. What did I have to say? Kimmy, this one, I've got a very funny parody.
Great. Now,
very funny parody of the Wizard song, which I'm going to put on Facebook later, but that's not for here. And one more quick thing: it's Amazon Anxiety Day, which means it's the day we start worrying if all our stuff's going to arrive in time that we ordered on Amazon.
Yeah, mostly what I've ordered on Amazon. And this shows my Christmas spirit, is puppy training pads for little Ebony, who's coming up for 15 and has decided that anywhere is okay to wee and poo. It doesn't matter where. She's given up.
Oh, I started doing that years ago.
So that is my big Christmas present to myself. Another huge box of puppy. Let's bring on our guest, and then you and I can chit chat. Absolutely. Now, I just want to say one other thing, because I know everyone takes the mickey out of our internet. And I just want to say this. We use a particular software system here on Men's Radio and on The Daily Show. Something clearly has happened to it, because when I wasn't on Monday, I was away with Mr. Tarrant. Neil took over on his own system, and we know that the lag was shocking. And again,
It was
today,
8
when it's
seconds.
my system, the like it. Yeah. So just to tell everybody, because I know you will take the you know what proverbial out of us mercilessly, and why shouldn't you? It's actually not our internet at all. It's not my internet. It's not Neil's internet. It is actually the system. I'll be getting onto their engineers in America the moment I've got time, probably early evening. Let's bring on our guest, ladies and gentlemen. Gateway to the South. I bet it's never heard that before. Tommy Balham.
Thank you for having me. Hello.
How you doing?
That's a pleasure.
Very good, thank you.
We're okay. We're okay. How are you? I'm going to put you
good.
up to Pride of Place. I'm moving you up to Pride of Place. There we go.
Can I change my name to Ball? It's spelt wrong.
Oh, is it? Have I spelled it wrong?
It's Balham as in South London. Balham,
Do we spell it?
I'll sort that out.
Balham.
Correct. Gateway to the South. That's how I thought. Oh man, you better speak. I'm going to blame your PR people. I'm blaming them straight away.
The joke was good.
I'm blaming them. I'm not taking any responsibility. I've had a year of taking responsibility for everything and everyone. I'm blaming your gang. Is that it? Like Balham and the Angels.
Exactly. It's in the Bible. Don't get it wrong.
So we need to show some respect here.
Is it?
Exactly. It's not the nicest story, but it's in the Bible.
All right. Tommy, tell us about yourself and why you're here, because we're pleased to see you.
I'm an actor, and I was an actor, and now I'm a clown. So obviously something didn't work out. So I started as an actor, and then I did a lot of children's theatre.
Somewhere we've got derailed. Somewhere our career has got derailed, Tommy Balham.
Exactly. What went wrong? So I just love children's theatre. I did a lot of school workshops and stuff. And then I set up a children's party company, which is called Captain Fantastic. And we do kids' parties. We're setting up in America. We've franchised it. We've got a YouTube series. And we're also just started doing SEND, which is special needs and education and disabilities, special educational needs and disabilities parties. So that's a quick overall.
Wow. Okay. Do you find it more fulfilling than when you were, I was going to say merely an actor, but I admire actors because I can't act. So do you find it more fulfilling?
I enjoy whatever I do, to be honest. And the kids' parties are very rewarding. You know, you get an instant feedback from them. If it's good, they'll be screaming and cheering. And if it's bad, they'll run off. So it's very instant. It's very quick. That's really enjoyable. And I do.
How do you hold their attention for more than 2 seconds? That's what I found when I used to do kids' parties. It was almost impossible.
You got to be quick. It's just energy. You match their energy seconds. As well.
This is what I found. With my best effort, sometimes it was literally. But you're right. It's bang, bang, bang. Keep going. New thing.
It is all razzle dazzle. But also, if you do a group of girls, they do sit a lot nicer than a group of boys most of the time.
Yeah.
Every time. God, when my kids who are now huge, I mean, one lives in Texas and the other one's running the world, it seems from her, were little, we would have, entertainers like Smarty Artie and the Dumbbells and people like that. And one, I got to tell you, Tommy, one went horribly wrong, totally misread it. And my little guy, who's now in charge of all acquisitions of one of the biggest companies in the world in North America, makes me think he was a little guy. The guy arrives as Dracula with full-on blood and everything. And it was like, mate, it's not Halloween adult party. These are little kids here. They're like 5 and 6. What you do? It was terrible. It was just talk about misreading the room.
Was there tears or was it okay?
Well, they were kind of screaming. Some of them were screaming because he had blood coming out of his mouth, and the makeup was really, really scary. It was was just like, what the hell do you think this is? They're 5 years old. They're not 25. Stop it.
Some of these Halloween shows we do though, the kids go all out with the makeup and have all cuts and stuff. So,
oh yeah,
oh wow,
makeup's very good nowadays.
Wow,
very, very good.
Neil, yes. Are you? Forgive us talking like we're all a bit slow-witted because it's because of the lag, and we're trying not to let the lag completely ruin the conversation. Neil, are you saying that you did children's parties? I never knew that about you.
Yes, I did. It's not my forte. It's not my thing. And someone like yourself, Tommy, who's a specialist at it, will probably do it much better than I ever did. But yeah, children's discos I used to do quite a lot, but it wasn't my favourite thing to do, to be honest.
You're not looking for a
something you enjoy more than I
do. You can come back and work for us.
I love it.
Oh, I do stand-up comedy now.
Don't encourage him, Tommy. He will be knocking on your door by 1:30. Not your
stand-up comedy is perfect.
Sausage.
It sounds like you do an awful lot. I mean, you've got your own, you're a clown. You've got your own company. You've got franchise, YouTube channel. This sounds like an awful lot. Now, is there a team of you? Mental health angle. How does one person facilitate and orchestrate all that and still stay relatively sane well, and still work in the business at the same time as well?
Do you know what? Stressfully, there is a team. So there's several people that do the admin, do the marketing. But what happens is I'm very much the creative. So I go away and this week we're doing this, or this week we're doing that, and I'm not very good. What I do is wherever my attention is, I go like the YouTube series. I'm like, okay, let's go write a YouTube series. And off I did, went all the episodes. And then what happens is you sort of drop the ball on something else. So now, like next year, it's about let's get in all the booking process really slick because we're setting up in America and we want to franchise the whole of America. So if there's any cracks in that, it'll all crumble. So it's very much focusing on what needs the attention and trying to juggle those balls. But,
you're absolutely right. And I think you're speaking a lot of people say they call it the entrepreneur's journey, and it is a stressful thing because nobody has a crystal ball, and it is, like you say, juggling so many balls, and it's rare to find all the skills in one person. Because I'm like you, I'm the ideas person. Let's do this, let's do that, let's do this. But there's other parts of the business which I'm not good at, and I need the right people around me to help. So I just got the impression that you were somehow doing it all yourself, and I was going to say, hat off to you. How the hell do you do that?
I'm not very good at certain things. I know my weaknesses very clearly.
So do I.
And I make someone else do that. Because if I do it...
Yeah, me too. But there's, might as well play to our strengths and do what we're good at, because a team where everyone's doing what they're really good at is a great team.
It is. So and if I do something I'm not good at, I burn out, I hate it, I get grumpy, and I'm dyslexic as well. So like for me to do admin, then like emails are spelt wrong, things get sent out wrong. It's best that I'm not on that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thanks for being so open about it. It's got the impression that you were some kind of super whiz that was doing it all.
No, I don't think that. I don't think that at all. Tommy, let me ask you this. Because my business partner on the radio station is heavily dyslexic, and his emails are marked, please excuse any typing errors, but I'm dyslexic, which I thought was a lovely thing to do, because has it held you back in certain ways? Not in your career, but in certain ways, being dyslexic. People don't talk about it. They think it's kind of funny. And it really isn't. Were you ever embarrassed by it? Did it hinder you? And how do you cope with it?
My biggest embarrassment with dyslexia was when I was sight reading or doing acting. We have to get up and read. I'm really a bad reader. Like I can read, but like I have to really focus, look at each word. I can't sight read and go off. So when you're doing like read throughs, I'd always have to have the script a few days before. I'd always ask for it. Didn't always get it, but so I can prep. I've got a really good memory. I think that's something you develop. You build on your strengths and not your weaknesses. So I try and memorize as much as possible so I can look like I was reading it. But that's embarrassing when you just get a script and you're stumbling through it. Everyone thinks you're rubbish. You're like, oh, give me the rehearsal. I'll be better. So that was it. And that reminds me of like going back to school and standing up and reading. I just hated it. But so I think I didn't develop those skills. So then
obviously you're considerably younger
Tommy,
than
back
me and
then
Russ.
When
I think we're going to say the same thing actually, Russ. I was going to say, did they have an understanding of it in schools then? They certainly didn't in our day.
Yeah.
Yeah, in school, I got diagnosed as dyslexic.
So rude and so demoralising.
I got diagnosed as dyslexic at drama school, and that was when I was standing up and doing sight reading. They were like, are you okay? Why are you so slow? And I'll be like, just the words are jumping around a bit. It takes me a bit of time just to get a hold of it. And that's when they said, because I don't know if there was funding or something happened at that time, but they said, that we can do a free test if you want. And then I did a test, and then I got diagnosed as dyslexic. But at school, I was the bottom set English, top set maths. And I was in English. I would just sit at the back, not do anything. And then in English, I'd move to the and then in maths, I'd move to the front, and I'd be like, I used to be a bit mean back then. I'd be like, see you later, pickos, and walk to the front. I just gave up on English. I just thought,
see you losers.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that. Tommy, can I ask a question, which I've never been. I get different answers from different people that I know who have dyslexia. I know that's not why you're here, but it is a very important issue. A lot of people have it. When you look at a lot of text, what happens? Is it that the words don't compute? You see their words, but what's the physicality of it when you're looking at something with dyslexia? How does it actually? What are the mechanics of it? I don't know how else to describe it.
So it's hard when the words is chunky, like if you was to put a space between each line, it gets a lot easier to read. For me, this is just me. Right. I'm sure everyone's slightly different. If it's all chunky together, for me, it does this. It's like it has like a bit of a warping if it's all too close together.
Oh, it physically? Are you saying, Tommy, it physically sort of seems to move on the page?
Yeah, a little bit. And
wow.
So I have to really focus on the individual words. And what happens? It can sort of cross over. So it's like I don't know if it's the mind doing it or something. I don't know, but obviously it is the mind. But like bits, because I could read something and the A could come before rather than after, just because I'm trying to read it quickly. But for me, it does this. It does this in and out, sort of when it's really close together text. That's the easiest way to describe it, I guess.
Interesting. So I can understand why you have to slow down and really, one word at a time. Yeah, I understand. I know dyslexic millionaires. I mean,
because I hate the word journey. Thing, but it doesn't have Simon Cowell. Everything is a journey. Oh dear God, it's not real. Right, I'm going to stop acting, and I'm going to go and become a children's entertainer. It's a big leap, but what was it? Did you feel nervous about it?
It wasn't a leap though. It was a progression because I set up Captain Fantastic like 2010, so 13 years ago, and for me at the time it was I need a little bit of income because acting's so irregular, and I'd done like a few films, a few adverts, but it was always irregular. And I'd worked for other like children in education and children theatre productions and children parties. And I thought, I'll just set up my own thing and then I'll have a little bit of control on my life. But then what happened was, I got a few friends to work for me. Then in like 5 years' time, there's like 10 people working for me. I was like, subcontractors at the time. And then I got someone else to do the admin. And then it just grew. And there's about 40 entertainers now that, in London and surrounding counties. And then we have 11 franchises across the UK, and we just set up in LA. So it's a progression. It was never something I chose to be fully. It's just like the last, 6 years I've really committed to it, and I love it.
That's the key.
I do love it. But it wasn't that. It wasn't
do you look at each show as a challenge to do something new to stretch yourself?
No, I don't. No. Every time I do a show, I like to be comfortable, be relaxed, and be as funny as possible.
Longie, ridiculous. Oh, you don't, right? It's the job. I get it.
But when I create a show, so like at the minute we're rewriting the superhero show because every now and then you feel like new ideas. So when I create a new show, I want that experience of it being fresh, being new, being exciting. But actually, I want to, when I'm delivering it again and again, I want to be really comfortable. I want to know it inside out. I want to know if someone says that, I've got a sort of joke lined up so it looks like it's on the spot.
Sure. Now, before you go, you've got most of Kiss's equipment behind you. Now they've finished their world tour. Now, what have you got? Is that a Roland kit? Is that a Roland electric kit behind you?
It's a Yamaha, but it looks like they all look. The electric ones are normally Roland, but Yamaha. My friend gets a discount on Yamaha.
Oh, it's a Yamaha kit, right?
Yeah. So if anyone wants a discount, just let me know.
Tommy, do you want to give us your website
and what are the
address?
guitars you've got up there?
On the screen.
Thank you. What are the? Yeah.
I'll write it here. Does it help if I write it there? It's www.captain-fantastic.co.uk. But yeah, I sing in a band called Dirty Mitts, a rock band, and I play instruments, write songs. I've written some kids' albums. I like doing the creative stuff. That's what I like doing. This is what I could be way richer if I just focused on money, but I just focus on the things I enjoy.
But I think that's the key, because I'm not saying you can't have both, but if people just do what they don't like for money, eventually it catches up with them.
Yeah.
Eventually, we talk about burnout quite a lot on this show, and eventually it's the creative energies have got to start flowing again. Otherwise, we just get tetchy, or I certainly do anyway. And I think that applies to everyone, really, whether they care to admit it or not. Yeah. So at least you know yourself well enough to know that, which is a great thing.
Next year is back to basics, though. I have to just focus on bookings, because what I've done this year, I bought out my business partner, and I bought out my ex from my house all in 1 year, and I'm just walking debt at the minute. But yeah, I carried on that creative attitude. It's like, I just want to make a YouTube series. But when you're walking debt, you have to go back to basics, and I've run out of money. So that's what I'm doing this year, 2024.
Well, good luck with everything.
Thank you very much. I need
You've got to go out, people think.
Has Russ got lost in the ether?
We have this awful delay that Russ says, and I don't know where it comes from. It looks like we're all talking over each other, so we have to sort of stop at the end of a sentence and then sort of leave 3 seconds.
If you've got to go and earn,
to wait for the other person, it just seems a bit weird. I'm sorry.
Tommy,
about that.
Thank you so much. Or do I have to call you Captain Fantastic? It's one of the two.
Captain Fantastic.
It's been a pleasure. I hope by this time next year you will not be the Walking Dead debt. You will be Captain Fantastic in all name and everything else. Bravo.
Oh, thanks.
Have a lovely Christmas. Happy New Year.
You too.
Happy Christmas, buddy.
Bye. Well done. Bye. What a very nice chap. I'm crossing us over now, Neil Long. I'm so this lag is absolutely what a charming guy. Charming guy.
Indeed.
I love it when people take a punt and think they're going to follow their dreams. Chrissy Richards from the middle of Spain says this: a lad I knew was dyslexic. He went to college. Look how you spelt college, Chrissy. For God's sake, I haven't got time to blooming well proofread the whole internet. He went to college at 16, and they found out. Helped him a lot. He got a job with Saatchi and Saatchi. Morris and Charles.
Yeah, as I say, I know dyslexic millionaires.
Anyway, there we are. Yes,
it has to be a lifetime burden.
Yeah, precise. It doesn't need to be. We'll get there. So that was it. That's very good. Okie dokie, artichokey. So I don't know what I've done here. That's something stupid. God knows. So there we are. Neil, do you feel
Russ.
pressured for Christmas or not? I just wonder whether the pressure outweighs the pleasure.
Well, we had those guests on the other day, didn't we? The Speakmans. They were talking about faux pas, and it's a similar sort of thing. I think people do feel a lot of stress and pressure this time of year for many reasons. Some just don't like the time of year. For some people, it's triggering in not such a good way. Our numbers dyslexia, I think, Chrissy, is called dyscalculia, if I remember rightly. I heard the word about 4 or 5 years ago, but I've never heard it before. Yeah, it's I've got some other friends that are as well. Yeah, dyscalculia. It's like dyslexia with numbers. But as I say, it doesn't...
You can't add up.
Or have difficulty.
What does it mean?
Not so much that. It's also... I don't have it, so I don't know. But in my understanding, it's not so much that you can't do maths, although that might be part of it. I'm guessing here, but it's more that if there's long strings of numbers, like phone numbers, you'd find that hard to read. And you find that hard to read out loud. You know,
I see. I never thought about that.
Or get phone numbers, like letters, but with numbers, or give them a number. It'd be, more like that, I would say. So
we've got Chrissy Richards again. She's very vocal today. I'm brain dead. Oh God, Chrissy, don't say that. You're not. That's a shocking thing to say. My fingers jump. I have nerve problems. I don't. You don't what?
That's all right, Chrissy.
You'll never know.
We don't mind. We get the gist of what you're saying. But yeah, some people don't like the time of year. Some people find it very, very overly commercial, and I understand that. And for me personally, it's just about twinkly lights and spending time with friends and doing work that I enjoy. I'm not religious particularly, and I'm not particularly commercially orientated, but I like buying gifts for close friends and family. So it doesn't stress me, but there again, I'm not in the same situation as everyone else, so I understand.
But people are religious after they've seen...
And then there is, of course, people that you don't get on with, having to hang around with them for a while, like close relatives and stuff like that. There is that.
What, my kids?
I didn't say that.
Although, you say you're not religious, but after people have seen some of your acts, they become religious, because I've heard them going, oh, dear God. Thank you. I'm here all week. Don't forget to tip your waiter and try the chicken. I think the build up to it is nuts. Absolutely nuts. I like the idea of exchanging gifts. That's a sweet thing to do. But the pressure is just crazy. And years ago, I said, why are we doing turkey? I don't like turkey. No one I know likes turkey. No one goes, great, turkey. It's just a thing. So why are we going to like the world's biggest pain in the ass thing to create, which is a turkey dinner? You get up at 3 a.m, you're basting all this rubbish. Why don't you just have what you like? Yay! Pressure relieved. Pressure relieved. Can't hear Neil. Neil, I can't hear you.
That was my fault. Sorry, I muted myself. I needed to cough. The reason, if this helps, why Christmas, and you've really touched on something here. You've touched on something we talk about an awful lot on this show. Christmas doesn't stress me. I'll read your comment in a bit, Chrissy, because I call the shots. I do it my own way. I hang out with who I want to. I do the work that I want to, and I buy gifts for who I want to. If you see what I mean, it's just me. I get to decide. I don't have to answer to a load of other people. A free show every Wednesday for the foreseeable future. It was quick.
You always go the other method. You know what we're talking about. We can always do that, fella. We can always do that one, boy. We can always do that one if you want.
I don't know what you mean.
You know what I'm talking about.
I don't. I've lost you.
I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
It's all about shoulding. The minute the pressure goes on, anything,
Yeah.
it becomes less enjoyable, doesn't it? It ties into burnout that we were talking about the other day.
Totally.
Yeah. You know,
and
it's
I hate
when,
to say this,
for any reason, our body's stress responses are overloaded. We need some stress. That's healthy. If a bus comes hurtling towards you, you need to be stressed to jump out the way. But chronic stress eventually will lead to burnout. And it can apply to anything. And it might just be that you don't like the time of year, you don't like the people, you don't like the pressure of it, and all that sort of thing. So to answer your question, yes, I do think it's stressful. And that's why. Hello, Graham.
I'm going to say something, and if I said it on the BBC or whatever, there'd be endless garbage. But I think it's not meant to be sexist, it's meant to be true. I think it's a huge stress for women more than men. Because
Probably.
in the majority, not in every case, so before everyone starts jumping up and down and saying, you belong in the 50s, it'd be great. I'd be quite happy. It's because not in every case, but in a lot of cases, it's the woman who has to organise the shopping. Not in every case, being clear. And also, it's the woman who ends up, spending hours and hours in the kitchen, and the whole meal's finished in half an hour. So why bother? It's all of that.
Well, that's true in a lot of cases. That's not sexist.
And that's really
stating the fact. That's not sexist.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we have to dance around.
You're not saying a woman should be doing that. You're not saying that's a woman's job to do that. You're saying that.
No, I'm saying the opposite. No.
Yeah.
I'm saying, listen, man. I'm saying the absolute opposite. I'm saying, it should be a 50-50. I happen to love cooking. It's, I don't like cooking like turkeys and stuff. I mean, holy God. Just why? I just don't get it. I know it's a tradition, but if you don't like it, you don't like it. I like duck. I'm happy to have a piece of steak. I'm serious. I'm happy. I just want to see the people. I want to see my kids.
Exactly.
I don't get to see them that often because they've got their own lives, and it's no good. They've got their own lives. They're all grown up. It's just lovely to spend a little time with them under the circumstances that they want.
Exactly.
And you've touched on something really interesting.
She's getting married next year, and and she very much has her own life. But doesn't mean to say I don't love seeing her.
I want a seat away from the band, but not near the toilet. Right at the function. So, she'll probably need a celebrant.
Oh, I'll mention it.
Okay, enough of the plug. Fine. Discount for friends, mates rates. This is what we're going to say. You have touched on something really, really important. This whole thing about you. Let's put aside you do the things that you want to do. Not everybody has that luxury, but it's great if you can. And I'm like that. I've just turned down. I'll put this politely. I was offered a prestigious job over Christmas, and I turned it down because they wouldn't agree terms. And I thought, no, just not gonna do it. If you can't do that, afford certain things, well, I'm not going to do it. Why should I? But more importantly, with you is you said a wonderful thing. I spend time with the people I want to spend time with. Right? Do you remember you said that? And I'm curious why so many people. No, and I'm with you on this. It's really, really important. But I'm with you. But so many people go, we've got to invite, your sister-in-law. We've got to invite, and they don't like them. They've never liked them. They've never got on.
You're in the world of shoulding, should, got to, must, ought, have to.
Yeah.
If it's any of that, then it's going to be less enjoyable. Hello, Maya. Forgive my
he's been on the show.
Absence. You're forgiven. And also Graham Pack
from your show.
That's joined us late. Good afternoon, Graham. You missed the segment.
Brilliant.
You missed the segment. You missed the segment, Graham, on the best sex ever. The mind-blowing sex segment. You missed that. Sorry, buddy. Not to be repeated. But thanks for joining us.
Never mind. Well, he can do it. He can find it on catch up. So, Neil, let me ask you this, because with all your NLP and all your other training, this is the real question. If you don't want to invite X, Y, and Z, because you've never liked them, you've never got on with them, you feel obligated. Is there a right or a wrong answer? Because my view with everything is, what's the very worst that's going to happen? You don't invite Auntie Mary. You've never liked Auntie Mary. She's never liked you. What's the worst going to happen? She doesn't speak to you again. Okay.
It comes down to
you know,
people
fine.
pleasing, and there's sometimes a political game, isn't there? It can be very political. If first of all, if you're using words like should, must, have to, ought to, need to, then you're in the world of should, which is never going to be as free flowing and enjoyable as want to. And it's as simple as that. Having said that, if you are in this political game, you're kind of stuck with two choices. You can either put up and shut up and silently resent it and do your best to be polite and not bite anyone's head off, or, but this is a big one for people, risk being unpopular. And this is what people don't like. People, we all want to be accepted. And this is what it boils down to, I think. We don't want to be unpopular. If we go along with it, we're going to be kind of unpopular with ourselves, which doesn't do anyone any good either. And if we don't go along with it and say no, we're going to be unpopular with everyone else. So it's overcoming that needing to be popular. Now, if I was asked to go along to something and it meant a lot to the person that I was very close to, then chances are I probably would, and I'd put up and shut up under protest, if you know what I mean. If it was going to help someone out, sometime, maybe. But honestly, we'd all be better off, much better off, making the choices that we really want to make over the choices that we feel we should do, particularly at this time of year. I should buy that person a present. I should write a card for that person. I should invite that person even though I really don't like them. I should visit my mum over Christmas. I should blah, blah, blah. And on it goes. And this is what stresses people.
There is that.
It's the shoulding and the fear of the fallout if we don't should. But honestly, if you were to give yourself a couple of weeks, I reckon, of doing exclusively what you wanted to do, far from you turning into a selfish monster, you might actually find yourself a lot happier and freer with a lot more to give people because you'd be an overflow.
I totally agree. It's the hardest thing. You know, one of the things that annoys me about media.
And if you're, sorry, Russ, very quickly, and if you're hung up on this, up on this thinking, oh, I'll worry about this, I'll worry about that, that tells me that you're not a selfish monster. So there's that fear allayed straight away, because that wouldn't even enter your head if you were as selfish as you fear that you are. Siobhan, we're having duck in this house, and I've done all the shopping. I love spending time with close family. Siobhan, invite me round, if only for the hoisin sauce, the nectar of the gods.
Probably hanging in a window. Here's the thing. The thing that drives me mad about a lot of media is this. They come on like they know all the answers, and they get an expert. I'll say I was the host and you were the expert. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, how do we deal? Oh, there you are. And the whole thing's dealt with in 3 minutes. It's nonsense. One of the hardest things, and I know we keep coming back to it, is learning to say no. Is in many instances putting yourself first and saying,
that's
do
what
I
it boils
really
down
want to
to,
do
doesn't
this?
it?
Just learning to say no. And do you know what? And I'm the worst, but I'm learning. But I'm still at the stage, I'd be absolutely open about this. I'm still at the stage when I'll then turn to other people and said, I've said no, I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z. Do you think I was being rude? Or do you think I was being churlish? Or do you think I made a terrible... And I really, at my age, for God's sake, I mean, I'm dead soon. I really should not be having to check.
Well, no, but the thing is, though, again, you're shoulding. You should achieve this by now. So you're shoulding on yourself a little bit there for a start.
Oh, yes, of course.
Are you being churlish or rude? Only you know that. If someone's doing it to prove a point, then maybe they are. But if someone's doing it just because it's their genuine desire, what they want to do, no, they're not. And it's as simple as that. Some people, if you say no, take it very personally. I've had that experiences with people, and they think it's something personal against them. And I have to explain and sort of grit my teeth. No, it's not. This is just me making the choices that I want to, and you too have the freedom to do the same. And that doesn't make me rude
because
or
the thing about it
churlish or
is such a
ungrateful or any
fascinating
any
area. This is such a it's a huge area. It's not about you. It's not about you. I don't mean you, Neil Long. I mean, it's not about you. It's about, do I want to do this? I'm an adult and I have the choice to say, yes, I will, or no, I won't. But also,
ever since my daughter was young,
ready.
I've always
hang on, and Longie.
Sorry,
Longie, I've got to bounce this off you. Let me bounce this off you. People are so very quick and so ready to take offense when no offense is me. It is, you know, when I was writing the book, as I said, I finished writing 10:30 Friday night. It's Wednesday today. I turned down everything. And some people were like, oh, but I said, I can't. I'm really sorry. I've made a commitment. I have deadlines, and that means I become a hermit and I sit at my desk and I write 84,000 words. That's how it works. That's the life I've chosen. Don't you take offense that I can't come. I can't come. I can't afford the time. I've got to get this done every minute.
But then that shows something about those people, because they need something from you. They need something from you. It's if they need you to come along to validate them, that's something they need from you. And it's not, like you say, about you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why
if they
I
need that validation,
that is beautifully put.
That you don't say no to them, or possibly there could be a bit of vicarious, have your photo taken with Russ Kane. I'm going to big you up because I think you're still pretty famous. You know, there could be that. But again, it all falls into the fact that they need something from you, right? But what about our responsibility to ourselves?
Yeah, to ourselves.
But what about our responsibility? Ever since my beautiful daughter was young, I've always encouraged her to be, number one, never apologize for honesty for me, towards me or anyone. And number two, always say yes to what she wants and no to what she doesn't want. And I'm never offended, ever, because I've encouraged her to do it. Because the alternative is teaching her to just be a tree blown by whatever wind of other people's needs are around you. And if that's good enough, you can't.
This is why I love working with you.
I'm sure that's what you taught your kids as well.
I love working with you. They're incredibly independent. I mean, like ludicrously independent, all four of them.
And that's thanks to you, because there's no way you'd have taught them growing up, say yes to things you don't want to say yes to please other people. What kind of message is that? I bet you didn't say that. I wouldn't say that, but we do it to ourselves. Why?
And there's the rub. This is why I love working with you, because I think very quickly we can cut to the chase of the things that affect. I'm looking at the numbers here. Absolutely. That cut to the chase that affects so many. Oh, if I say no, they'll be offended. Well, that's actually not on you. And the other thing is, if somebody's asking you if it's a real, I've got certain friends, they phone me at 3:00 in the morning and they needed something done, I would do it. That's entirely different.
That's different. That's
deep,
different. We've all got those 5 people that you can call anytime, day or night, in an emergency.
Friendship.
It's not something we'd ever use unless we had to. It's for emergency use only, and that we'd never abuse it. That goes without saying.
I mean, somebody like, I don't want to pick names, but somebody like, Colin or Ray, or to be honest, you, if you phoned up, or Phil Dave, they phoned up and said, I'm really sorry. I fine, I don't sleep that well anyway, but I'd be there. I wouldn't. But it's when people, want a favor, and it just feels a favor. You're thinking, well, why am I having this meeting? Why am I actually going to this? Why am I actually going to? So a business thing, right? Or personal things. And it's all about a word that Neil uses a lot and I never use, called boundaries. It's all about boundaries. Hey, matey, you are stepping all over my boundaries in as much as you're asking me to do. So why the hell should I do it? And then more importantly, why should I feel guilty if I say, no, I'm so sorry, I'm not
Well, you
going
should
to
feel
do that.
guilty because that's what a good person should do. Surely a good person would honour all requests made of them. Does that sound familiar, particularly to women? Does that sound familiar?
There you go. There you go. There you go. You should feel guilty. Feel guilty about everything. I mean, I'm the king of that. I am the king of the universe when it comes to that. I know it. I know that. I
That
don't
quote
have
on
the
the
answers,
screen
but
is
I
from a
put it
classic
in
Madonna
front.
song called Frozen. You're frozen when your heart's not open. And that line stuck with me in the song. Read it.
Creation comes when you learn to let go. Rude. Freedom comes when you learn to say no. Madonna. Okay. Okay. Well, it's true. You know what was really interesting? I was writing the book. You know what you talk about flow state? Do you remember you've talked a
creation
lot about
comes
flow
when you learn
state,
to let go.
And I keep saying, and I've often said to you over the week, this time we've been working, I say, well, describe flow state, and then you tell me what it is. And I was in seventh heaven. Now, whether the book's good, bad, or indifferent, that's another issue.
Oh, it'll be good. If it came in a flow state, I can assure you it's going to be good.
The words were just pouring out. It was extraordinary.
Right. So did it feel like
did
it feel like on an emotional level, it felt like ecstasy, and it felt like you were in a powerful river just gently guiding the boat. You were doing it, but not doing it. Effortless effort. It was like happening through you.
Well, I tell you, the only way I can describe it, and I think this goes for any form of creativity, is this. I didn't know where the words were coming from, which is when I know it's going well. And that sounds very counterintuitive because I don't sit there thinking, what is the right fact? It just, boom, it's like a tsunami and it just appears on my screen. It's like my fingers are guided over the keyboards and up comes the plot and up comes the characters and up comes the dialogue and up comes the twists and no, those need thinking about. Obviously, but it's an amazing place to be.
Like
it's
you have the
not
universe.
For a couple of years, Chrissy, the way the publishing works, but bless you.
Yeah, that's how it feels. It feels like you've got the universe at your fingertips, and in a sense, you have.
It's fantastic.
But why does it only have to be when you're doing things like that? Why can't I don't think the universe says I'm only going to work through you when you're writing a book. The universe is all of everything. So why wouldn't it be able to do that all the time? And it's only because of the beliefs that we hold and we think that's not possible. And we believe that things have to be difficult and we have to please people, blah, 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 that we can't apply this flow state to more and more areas of our life. Imagine, just for a minute, if you will, that effortless effort was being practiced by everyone on the planet every day. Number one, how much happier would everyone be? Number two, how much more autonomous? And number three, wouldn't a lot more get done?
Oh, yeah. Totally. I mean, here's the
Graham. I was on the flow,
thing,
writing. Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing. You've hit on something else there, Graham. You've hit on another aspect of flow. I should put that back up for a second. You've hit on another aspect which I forgot. I forgot the time. Time becomes meaningless. Yeah. It can feel like a few seconds and hours pass.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. You know that thing they say in some spiritual circles, there's no such thing as time. There's only the now.
Easy.
It's that. It's that. It's an amazing state to be in.
There's only the now and dinner.
And interestingly, Graham, when we've had people on,
it's a phenomenal place to get to.
Incidentally, Graham, I must point this out. When we've had people on talking about spiritually things, and I respect your point of view, but you're the first to say, oh, this is all bullshit. I think this is all hokum. And yet you've just described something incredibly, what I would call spiritual there. And that's the thing. But we all have access to this, but because there's so many, most of it's got such a bad rap and there's so many idiots in it, and because our views of these things are jaded, when we experience it, we don't even recognize it for what it is. See what I mean? And I say that
it's
with the greatest
interesting.
of respect.
We've got a new series. in January we've got 2 new series coming on Men's Radio. One, and you've met both of the new presenters. Lee Wybird, who was the I call him medium. We call him medium.
Yeah.
And it was complete Marmite.
Didn't see that one coming.
It was complete Marmite because some people were saying to me, privately, "Oh, I love the show. Love you and Neil. Love you and Phil." No, I didn't believe a word Lee was saying. And other people going, "This is great. We've been waiting for this. Thank you for having the balls to go and put a show on all about this every week. This is terrific." It's not for everybody. And the great thing about, especially the Daily Show, we're never prescriptive. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. If you don't agree, my God, you're the first all over the world to say, Russ, don't agree with you. Neil, you're talking out your backside, whatever it might be. That's how it should be. That's how it should be. Whatever.
And plus the fact we're all
isn't the
having
bottom line, but
experiences.
Longie, isn't the bottom line, whatever works for you is fine.
Yes, absolutely. Whatever works
That's
for
it.
you.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah. And you get to choose. Some things you will absolutely lap up. There's some things on this show which aren't really me, but it doesn't matter. I enjoy presenting it. And some I absolutely lap up, but not everything's for me. That's why there's lots of diversity and we've got plenty to choose from. I like this. Kimmy, I remember one time a colleague at work had a leaving do. I dreaded it, so I didn't go. When asked why weren't you there, I said I couldn't be asked. It just slipped out. She was like, oh. But then she said it was awful and wished she was brave enough simply not to go too. But there you go, Kimmy. Never apologised for honesty. It's not spiritual to me. I had to make a bob, send my wife out to do the shopping. Yeah, but a bit of our own time. That's a spiritual experience, dude.
And the Chrissy Richards in Spain says, can't wait for him to talk about Lee Wybird, who I think it's going to knock your socks off. He's genuine. I love tarot readers. Well, yeah, sometimes yes, sometimes no. There's some great ones out there, and there's some absolute charlatans out there.
With all things,
that's
like
the end
this,
of it. That's the end of it.
With all things like this, with all things metaphysical, there are some people who get into that, and they're con artists, and they can prey on people who are vulnerable, and they've got no particular skill apart from cold reading, which anyone can learn to do without any particular skill at all. Darren Brown will teach you about cold reading, and it's bullshit, and I really don't agree with that. But I think it's important not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, because there is some gold in that field as well, and it's just a question of finding it. But the good thing is, it's all about free will. If it's not for you, don't partake. No one's forcing you.
No one's forcing you to do it. No one's forcing you to do it. It's like when we had lunch on.
Graham, that is one of your worst, dude.
The thing about Graham Pack that kills me, he's clear. He has a huge business. He's very intelligent, and he does the worst, sometimes the most inappropriate comments, and sometimes they absolutely slay me. I think they're hilarious. It's another thing about Christmas. Have I got time? Yeah, I got time. Now, joking aside, I know people think I drink a lot. I actually, in real life, as Neil will tell you, I don't drink a lot, especially if I'm over to Neil. I'm driving, so I won't. I really just won't. Right, those days are way gone. But I'm not a big drinker. Now, the lunch we had, it was a lovely lunch for the Capital Radio breakfast team, slightly extended, but it's a very small group of us, and the wine was, flowing. Now, I could have got absolutely hammered. I was obviously not driving, and I had what I wanted to, and I was happy with that. I never feel. And I don't know how, I want your view in a minute, Longie, and then everybody else's. I never feel, if people look at me and go, well, you're not drinking, which they didn't at this thing. Other people, were imbibing, and why not? But if anyone ever says, oh, you don't drink, well, you're a lightweight, so what? Exactly. I don't think I've got to fit in because you want to get,
only drug
what face.
That we get criticised for not taking. Think about that. If I said I took cocaine.
Yeah.
Or if I said I took, I don't know, MDMA, I would be criticised for that. If I say I don't take alcohol, I would be criticised for that. Isn't that weird? And yet, there's absolutely conclusive scientific proof out that it is safer for myself and for other people to smoke cannabis every night than it is to drink alcohol.
Tell me
every
about
night.
it. I know.
And yet I would be judged harshly. If I went to the school gate and I said, it's wine o'clock, as I was picking up the kids, to another mum there, they probably agree. And, I can't wait for wine o'clock. If I said it's joint o'clock, can you imagine?
Let me tell you something. And
yet one is 5 times less
dangerous
than the other.
There's a school that I pass in South London, right? And when the mums and the dads are picking up the kids,
that's where you get all your best drugs from.
Holy God. They're all wet outside, and they're not talking about the Great British Bake Off. They're talking about the Great British Smoke Off. Holy God, the air is filled with it. They all seem pretty relaxed, so why not? I've never understood what. Now, yesterday I had a snack with one of my oldest and dearest friends, and I'm not saying who, he said to everybody, I've become an alcoholic. And now he's been over 2.5 years, absolutely clean. And I'm so proud of him because I didn't think he could do it. I'm so thrilled for him.
Good.
But here's the joke. Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled for him. I didn't realize how bad it was. And I tried to intervene. And I love the guy. He's like a brother to me. I mean, we're very, very tight. And I said it to him before, and I said, do you feel any better? And he went, nope, I don't feel any better at all. I preferred my life as it was. It seemed more fun. And I said, because we've known each other since the early 70s, right? We're very, very close. And I said, yeah, but you were a pain in the ass. I mean, you thought it was fun. It was rubbish for everybody. It was absolute rubbish for everybody else. But, I mean, he looked great. He looks younger. Does he feel any better? No. So there's a kind of irony there, isn't it? Because we're always saying, you're going to feel fantastic. No, he feels exactly the same. He's just not drunk. And I'm thrilled for him. I'm just delighted, And
before we go,
it's one of those things. We've talked about it a lot. I know you'll be talking about it. One of the things we've talked about, if you want to do something, you can. It's like when my dad got throat cancer and had told he had to stop smoking. He stopped that day, walked out of the doctor's surgery, never smoked again. I think if you want to do it, you can do it. You can always find excuses for not doing it. I think within all of us, we can. I genuinely believe that.
And
this is interesting. Let's look at this. Look at this. Do you want to read it out, Neil?
Journalism friend of mine used to be a hard drinker, and her mother died from alcoholism, and now she's teetotal. She still gets comments about not drinking at events. Yeah, isn't it interesting? As I say, Graham, it's the only drug that you get criticised.
Pathetic.
It's the only drug you get criticised for not taking. And if she went to those events with the joint in her hand, I bet they'd have something to say about that. Even though, as I keep saying, that is 5 times less harmful, and that's scientifically backed. That's not just me saying that.
I agree with that. I agree with it. And you know what? There's a phrase I loathe. Well, there's a lot of phrases I loathe, but this one in particular is, and I've heard it so many times over my life, especially when I was growing up. I don't trust anyone who doesn't drink. And people would accept that. And for decades, that was the wisdom. I wouldn't trust anyone who doesn't drink. It's not heroic to drink. I drink. I like a drink. I can live without a drink. But it's not heroic. And the notion I don't trust anyone who doesn't drink. What a stupid thing to say.
I'm just trying to find a quote here in a book I recently read on alcohol. Hold on a minute.
While I was researching, I'm going to say this because this is our last Wednesday show before Christmas. Have I got it right? Yeah, before Christmas. I swear to God. Neil, I want to wish you, I wish daughter, I wish Liz, Saul, and Ken Evans, your producer, a very happy and healthy Christmas and a happy and
you too,
year.
sir.
I want to thank you again for taking the mantle and having the Neil Long Wednesday show, because I know you're going to love it. It's going to be brilliant. and I will
Yeah,
be
we're
on
going to be
every
talking a lot
Monday.
about mental health and
Friday,
tips and tricks.
and I may pop in on a Wednesday. If I can pop in on a Wednesday,
And do let me know. Do let me know what you want to talk about, folks. Before we go, can I just? A friend of mine had some terribly, terribly sad news yesterday. I'm not going to name her, but I did do this shout out on another station this morning, and she'd like me to do it here as well. A big thank you to all the nurses and doctors on Hardy Ward and intensive care at Kingston Hospital that looked after my son. They are all amazing. Terribly sad news, and we send you love. Okay, I'll be back Friday with Phil Dave and the wonderful Chantal Ricard's OBE. Longie, lots of love. Take care, everybody. Stay out of trouble. This is it before Christmas.